Welcome to Hustle Radio, a podcast about the New York hustle mentality centered in the e-commerce industry, the official podcast of the E-Com Cooperative. Introducing your hosts, Frank Acosta and David Dayon.
What's going on, Frank? How we doing?
We are live, baby. How's it going, man?
We are coming to you live from White Label Expo in the Javits Center in New York City.
I'm in the most beautiful country in the world. I'm in the Dominican Republic. I'm where the sun is the brightest, where the beaches are the best. Good vibes out here, man.
Yes, good vibes only. Today is episode 15 of New York Hustle Radio, and we have with us a very amazing guest. His name is Darby Rollins III. I love whenever anybody has there's a third. First of all, number one and number two were awesome, but the third's always the best. That's just the rule. And without further ado, let's bring in Darby over here. How we doing, Darby?
Hey, how's it going, guys? Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
All I do is win, no matter what. I can never get enough. And every time I step up in the building, everybody hands go up.
Yo, what's going on, man?
Hey, you never guessed that was my walkout song in high school for baseball.
There we go. I
love it. Because when I was playing basketball, it was the same thing, man. It's like we're coming out to a song. It's like you're taking over, man. Like nobody's gonna beat you. You're ahead of the game. Good vibes only.
Actually, that's a great place to start, Darby, because I read on one of your bios that you are a former baseball player. So first of all, before we jump into what you're currently doing, just tell us a little bit about that, because I feel like we don't really have many baseball players in the Amazon space. Tell us a little bit about your background. Who is Darby Rollins III?
Yeah, well, who is Darby is interesting question to ask always. But I was born in Southern California around Oceanside, San Diego area. Family moved to Central Texas back in 2005. Kind of the migration of Californians to Central Texas around Austin. And I grew up playing baseball, and I grew up playing drums. And baseball was always kind of like my first love. Was a pitcher all the way through college. Played 4 years at a school called Louisiana College, Central Louisiana, and I still drum to this day in different aspects as much. So those are kind of like my two pastimes when it doesn't come to entrepreneurship being the current thing.
Once a drummer, always a drummer. I think.
Yeah. Neighbors below me have voiced their experience of hearing me foot stomp a little bit too loudly playing the air drums, but they can get over it.
So let me get it right. You played. So I'm very interested. So what team did you play for?
I played, and my college team was we're called the Wildcats. We're a Division III school. Played a lot of teams in Texas and the southern part of the U.S. And I was a right-handed pitcher.
Nice. Got it. So now I have to ask you, how fast were you pitching, man? I need to know on that.
Not fast enough to get drafted. I ended up probably topping out upper 80s. I never clocked myself hitting 90, but whenever my arm was in good shape and I was feeling good, I could get it up there a little bit. I ended up actually tearing my shoulder, a ligament in my shoulder, my labrum going into my last year of college, and so I ended up switching to having to throw sidearm, underarm, essentially over that last year to play, which is an interesting transition, but it was a lot of fun. And it was weird how you could throw as hard as possible from the lower angle versus, if I would pick it anywhere near up and above my shoulder. I mean, just splitting pain. So body's
I'm hearing what you're saying, David. And David, I want you to notice what I'm saying as well. I think it's so important for people, because athletes, right? They have their dreams and they aspire to be a professional athlete. And some are so zoned and focused only on that when they don't make it, some of them go to depression, some of them they don't know what's next for them. And I feel like the e-com world, should be a door for them, right? Where they're still doing what they love and they're building something on the side, because we all know that making it to that level is sometimes, whether you're good or not, but it's also luck, right? There's so many amazing players that never make it, right? And being that I'm in Dominican Republic and Darby, I'm pretty sure you know this. There's so many baseball players that come from Dominican Republic, right? Majority of the people there, and some of them they live in small little towns here that nobody would have ever known who the hell they were if it wasn't just that they were in the right place at the right time, right? So it's a lot of luck that's involved, as you know that. Obviously, talent is there, but so many people are talented, but only few make it. And I feel like having this side hustle of doing e-com and teaching people how to have something as a secondary option is something that's like, some people definitely need to hear this.
Yeah, I agree. I think like something with that, like the opportunity in the e-commerce space right now is so much of it. And I think you do see a lot of people with that athletic mindset that crosses over into entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
But so much of it is consistency and just showing up every day and figuring out the things you need to figure out, get better at the things that you can control. And then, it's a team effort, right? Like there's no one man is going to scale a store beyond, his skill sets, right? And it's the same with sports, team sports in particular, like baseball, football, soccer. It's really the whole team coming together to do something and accomplish something greater.
Yeah, for sure. David's at a trade show, so probably his camera's going to go a little on and off, but it's fine. We'll continue. So Darby, tell our crowd, tell our listeners, what is it that you dedicate yourself to these days? What are you doing, and what you bring to the table?
Yeah, so I've got my hands in a few irons in the fire, as I would say it. One of my companies is a small e-commerce gaming company called Side Hustle Games. We have a party game that's designed for kind of like to embody the creative spirit of entrepreneurship, helps with brainstorming, thinking on your feet. It's an improv game. It's fun to play at parties, fun to play at work. And so that's one of my projects that is very near and dear to me, and I really enjoy being a part of it. The other two aspects of my business is one is I act as a kind of a fractional creative director for Amazon sellers and agencies that service Amazon sellers. So I'll handle anything from researching to copywriting to full-on creative direction to building listings from scratch to the point where they're ready to get launched while they're being manufactured, and taking that bottleneck away from generally the brand owner or the Amazon seller who has been doing it themselves and knows how to do it and is ready to kind of pass it off to someone who has the experience to that there. And so that's a pretty large pillar in what I do on the day-to-day basis. And the other aspect is I work very closely with an AI writing tool called Jarvis, and I help people use this tool to actually write nonfiction books to bring in more leads for their business and kind of build a platform for their brand or their consulting business.
Wow, that's so interesting. What do you mean nonfiction? Like, do you help people write like legit books, or is it more like a free PDF that they're giving away with information? Or because we all know that once you give out content and if it's good content, it produces more sales or whatever the case is, right? So, can you give us an example of a company that you don't have to say name or anything, where you have seen that type of content reels in more business?
Absolutely. So since February, when I started running this, essentially coaching people on how to do this, is because I wrote a book over a weekend using the AI called Amazon Copywriting Secrets. And it was designed to be kind of like a lead magnet for my own consulting services, as well as something to educate people on, this is the 411 on what you need to know to build a $1 million Amazon listing, right? So another example of once I did that, I started teaching people how to use and apply the tool this way. One of our case studies from back when we first got started, her name is Sierra. She went through this thing that we called the 7-day book challenge. And it was because she wanted to write a book to generate more clients for her business. Her book's called Not a Sales Book. You can find it on Amazon. And she uses it as a reference point for her talking, for her coaching with new salespeople that she hires, as well as for her clients. And, just a few weeks after she got done working with us, she shot me a message, said, hey, client reached out, saw my book, wanted to buy my book, booked a call with my sales rep after they bought my book. And that turned into a big ticket close for her business, right? And so that's kind of like, what's the fastest path to turning someone from someone who's a book buyer into your next high ticket core offering?
Oh, interesting, man. Something.
So guys, I'm back. I don't know if you could hear me and see me, but I'm back. And I bought Darby's book. And then I hired Darby after I read the book from cover to cover. And then I actually saw Darby posting about Side Hustle, the game, and I bought the game because it's such an awesome game. And I played it a couple times, and it's like Shark Tank meets Apples to Apples. I don't know if you know the game Apples to Apples. Sorry if I'm oversimplifying it, Darby, but what an awesome game. It was like, I think I saw like a video like pitching what it was, and I was like, this is the smartest game I ever, I cannot, put it this way. I believe that will be a very, very successful game. I think it's like something you could play at like an office party. Just like there's no game that you can play like that like keeps you sharp and keeps you thinking of new things. And it's just I feel like it's Frank, you're in the DR with your office. Maybe get that game and play it with your staff a little bit, with your your team over there.
Well, so David, obviously you took a long time to introduce me to Darby. That's the thing that happens these days where he's just like giving me only little pieces of people, and then like in the podcast is where he's really introducing me to people. So Darby, for sure, I definitely want to talk to you. If David hired you, I'll tell you this. David is very particular who he does business with. So if he did something with you, automatically makes me want to have that conversation ASAP, right? And look, it's one thing very important what you were saying before David came in. And basically saying, we always say that in business, the way to be successful is to delegate as much as possible, right? Where you can find out where you're the best at and only focus on that. That's really how you can scale a company or a business, even an Amazon account, any type of structure that's in the business world is delegating as much as you can and focus on what you're the best at. So I think that what you bring to the table to all these Amazon sellers is like, all right, you're somewhat established, things are running well, hand off the things that are tedious, that maybe they annoy you, maybe they take up too much more of your time, so that you can focus on whatever it is that is going to generate more leads and more sales and just make the business grow overall, right? People, and I know I speak for a lot of them because I have a lot of clients that tell me they're very scared to let go of their, like, the positions that they hold in their own company, right? So I have a company that's doing about 25 million a year, and he wears all his hats, and he's uncomfortable, he's always tired, never has time. And I'm like, listen, hand the little things off, and he's very attached. He's like, hey, I want to do this myself. I don't want somebody to do my reimbursements. I want to do it myself. I don't want somebody to do the listing optimizations. I want to do it myself. I want to be there when the photographer's taking the pictures, right? And I'm telling him that he's investing so much time into the business in a way where he has no time to do anything else. So what do you say to people that are like that are in that situation where they're scared to hand off a certain section of the business and put it in somebody else's hand because of trust or whatever other issue you've been doing?
I think the first thing is that it's normal to feel that sort of like hesitation, right? Especially when it's your business and it's your baby and you know it better than anybody else. It's definitely an exercise in letting go that, I still have to actively practice, for the different projects that I'm involved in, right? And, as much of a skill it is to go from 0 to 1, it's a different skill set to go from 1 to 10 and then beyond that. And a lot of that is how can you leverage your time in the most impactful way. And I think a good place to start with that is just measure where your time is going. If you're spending 5 hours a week watching someone else take your photography, for example, is that generating you money? Is there a way that you could offload that and then still, know that it's getting done? Is there other things that you can be focusing on that if you just spent 1 hour doing that, would that actually allot you more time to hire more people in your business, right? But when you're the bottleneck trying to spin all the different plates, your foundation is just, you're built on stilts. And if one of the stilts doesn't have the other things, the other people, the other systems that are holding them up, if you knock that one stilt out, which is you get sick and no one else is there to be able to replace you, you find yourself in a really sticky situation in some cases.
Sure.
And, it's scary thinking that too, right? So it's a big transition. That, I think it's just a constant growing and learning experience, and try to gamify it is what I try to do when I'm doing that. Like, I might not like everything I'm doing when it comes to trying to like build new systems and hire someone else with it, but like, how do I at least try to have it be fun? Or it's like, would I rather be chilling in Colorado this week? Okay, well, I could do that, but I can't because I have to do all this other stuff, and that makes me mad. So now I'm going to go and hire this part out so I can go and spend time doing what I actually care about doing.
100%. And I think that outside of business, also like your life becomes better, right? Like you're more stable in like your personal life and your, like time for yourself to learn, to educate yourself, to learn something new. I think it was Eddie Millett. He's a big like person that inspires people. I'm not sure if you guys know who he is, and he always says that if you spend 3 to 5 hours learning something new every week, that your mind could develop better business ideas for your current business, right? And it's just the truth, right? It's like if you've given yourself that time to learn and to invest in yourself, which a lot of people lack on, the business can do much better. Because guess what? We're always not the best person for each area in the business, and I'm very big on hiring professionals, right? I see it happen all the time where I hire somebody. For example, I have a video shoot today, and my team is there taking care of the video. I'm not even passing by there, and I'm pretty sure the production is going to be great because I've already spent so much time teaching them how to do the videos where I'm no longer needing to be there. And is that letting go and building that trust, just like you said.
Yeah.
So I want to actually ask a couple questions. If you guys see the ticker on the bottom, it has today's topic: writing $1 million Amazon listings. I wanted to try to get, even though I don't think anybody should try to write their own Amazon listings, I wanted to try to get a little bit of an answer from you, Darby, of like your process. When you have to sell a product, when you have to write copy for a product, what's step one? Do you have to get a picture of the product? Do you have to feel and hold the product? Do you have to wear it? You have to use it? I'm saying, what would you say is step one when you have to get into the right headspace of putting down, paper to pen and making words to help sell a product?
Yeah, I think it always boils down to like, what are we selling? Like, what's the actual offer here, and what are people buying? Like listing out for one, like who's the target audience that we're reaching for here? Just getting a baseline level from, like, if I'm asking a client this or I'm doing my own, it's like, okay, who's going to be the person that's holding this product in their hand? And just with that in mind, you're just researching, right? And Amazon is a great place, not just for only like e-commerce sellers to do research, but just general market research, because the reviews are so insightful for things. And so, I mean, I spend a lot of time reading Amazon reviews for the products that I'm looking at, just because you get like different angles. You hear like different themes for what people are saying. You hear different pain points that are coming up more often. And, when it comes to just, copywriting in general, right, people are going to buy because of the emotion that they're driven with, but then like there's the logic behind it that backs it up. And that's like the features that you can highlight here. And so there's a fine mix on Amazon, I found, where, it's, and as it's evolved over the years, when, 5-10 years ago, whatever, and just how Amazon lets their listings look, right? And it's all about the customer experience, and it's all about delivering the information that's needed. I don't believe you need, some listings try to fit too much information, and they try to stack too much, stuff in the bullet points. They try to just oversell when, in reality, like, simple is what is going to sell. And if you can articulate what you need to say in 1 or 2 sentences in a bullet point, then I say you leave it at that. If it needs to take a little bit more explanation, if it needs to be a little bit more detailed and enhanced content, like, just understand what someone's looking for, right? If you can't sell somebody with the pictures and the title, then, like, that's what I want to focus on first. And then everything is going to kind of trickle down from there.
I love that you said that, because I remember I was in a meeting and David started talking about that, and it caught my attention, right? Because sometimes we think we know, right? And the reality is that things are changing so much. And I remember somebody that was looking for a listing optimization, and they were creating a title, and the person was like, "Wait, we're not using all the characters in the title, right?" And I remember like David saying that things have changed, right? Before maybe that was necessary, and now people are looking for like the cleaner read, the easier to understand. When I'm doing designing, and I'm not in the Amazon world, but I'm surrounded by so many people. And I tell my clients that when you're creating packaging, you have to make it for people that are illiterate, for people that really have trouble understanding it. You have to make it very easy for them to read, right? So do you say that Amazon is also transitioning into a way where everything needs to be simplified because people are just tired? Like, who wants to read a whole paragraph on a product, right? Especially if you know what the product does and it doesn't demand that. Are you encouraging people not to use every character that's allowed to be used, or what's your thoughts on that?
I mean, you have to talk to the machines, like the robots, the algorithm to rank. Like that's, it's Amazon's a search engine, right? So that's one half of the equation. But the other half is the person that's actually going to be paying you money for the product that you're offering, and that's the human on the other side. So, when you're creating a listing or a product or an idea for a product, right? Like it's not because I started, in 2017 was when I first got my toes wet in the Amazon game. And it was so easy to get so focused on product, me. Look how much better of a product I made because of these few tricks that I added to it. And it's, look, fancy product. That's amazing. But if you miss all of the emotional triggers that are going to catch people's attention and why they're actually looking to buy, right, then it doesn't matter how nice and pretty your product is. If even when someone looks at it, they're like, this looks like a widget, but this other widget is designed to help me actually like have a better relationship with my spouse. So I'm going to go and buy that widget, just for a general example, right? But like little things like what I learned about I think it was let's just say MCT oil, for example, and different use cases for MCT oil. And I'm doing research for an MCT oil listing, and I'm like, oh, there's all these health benefits with it, right? But one thing I realized when I was reading the reviews was a lot of people liked this type of MCT oil because it didn't make their coffee taste weird when they put it in their coffee. I'm like, oh, and some people would put negative reviews on in things that did this because it would put a bad taste in their mouth because they'd like to drink it as the way of ingesting it, for just an example, right? And so those little clues that people are leaving is what's going to catch the eye of people that are really going to actually buy your product versus just oh, that's a cute fancy listing. I've seen a lot of really ugly Amazon listings sell a lot of product because it's just here is product, this is what it does, this is how it helps you, this is what it's for. You just no need to write 10 paragraphs of sales copy for a $15 wrench.
Yeah, there you go. That's exactly 100%. I'm so on board with this. So on board.
So Darby,
David, we have to know, how's the expo over there, man? You got a little disconnected.
Expo is awesome. I'm gonna give you a little visual of what's going on over here. It's pretty cool. So let me know if you. I'm in the Javits Center. Do you see this big? This is a big Amazon show. I don't know about being the best Amazon show, but it's definitely the biggest Amazon show. They took over the whole Javits. You can see the doors closing right now. You see those guys down there? Yeah. We were supposed to do the podcast in the Gatita booth, but they kicked everybody out. So we're sitting here on a little deck and enjoying the view. We're gonna go to Gatita's after party in a little bit, and it'll be fun. But I wanted to ask you, Darby, do you only do Amazon copy, or can you write copy for anybody, for any website, for any brand, for any?
I mean, Amazon is where I've niched as far as providing a productized service to clients that I can help do it at scale. But
if Frank tells you, hey, I need, because Frank does work like this all the time where he needs copy. But if Frank told you, hey, I have a website or a brand that I'm making, the question would be, are you up for the challenge? Would you accept jobs like that, or you're saying you're good with just Amazon products?
Outside of Amazon, I mean, the type of clients that I look to work with generally are in the info product space, and they're selling higher ticket coaching packages, consulting services, other sorts of marketing engagements that have a bigger ticket on it and a lot more margin. So, as far as things that I've found to just be a lot more worth my time to focus on, if I'm going to be building out a sales funnel and an offer and a follow-up, and if it's the right partner and the right service, sometimes I'll even front all the costs myself for writing the copy and doing the sales campaigns, because the margin is there and the list is there, right? And so most of the people I work with and my partners already have established lists, they've got an offer or two that's already cranking and working, and they're just looking for help selling more of it. And that's when we will go and work with their buyer databases or a Facebook group, for example, if that's where a lot of their engagement is. And we'll just, work on selling more of their offer to more people when it's the right time for it.
for sure. I agree. I love it. I think you bring a lot to the table, and I would definitely love to sit on a call to see how we can bring value to each other, man. I think that you bring something unique as well. The whole book thing blew me out of my mind, just because I know I understand branding is the world that I live in, and I've quickly realized that there's so many strategies that are out there that bring in sales in ways that we would never even think worked, right? So, guys,
Frank,
you're listening.
Darby has written several books at this point, right? Darby wrote like 2 or even 3 books at this point. No,
Yeah, I wrote
more.
the second one I wrote after the first one was called Funny and Fundable, and it was built off the Side Hustle game. So like purely as like an experiment to see how hard I could push the AI, was I asked the AI Jarvis to literally pitch me each one of the business names inside of Side Hustle. And I spent like 8 hours straight just having the AI give me all these ridiculous business ideas. And so I'm like continuing to like build on top of that book. I have another edition that's going to be coming out here pretty soon, but that's a lead magnet for the Side Hustle game, and it's literally enough content for me to use for the next.
All right, so Darby, let's
2 years.
let's do a test right now. I'm pretty sure I remember how it works. You get 2 words. Like I remember in the commercial, it was like something like Gorilla Milk or something like that. And then you
monkey butter.
monkey butter. There we go. Gorilla Milk, monkey butter. So we're gonna do this on Frank right now. So Frank, you're gonna have to come up. Darby, maybe you could explain better than I am if I don't do this right. But you're gonna have to come up with a business around those 2 words. Monkey butter. What is monkey butter? Yeah,
what is monkey butter?
So here's how we would run it. We would say, like, all right, David, pick an industry, any industry. Let's not choose e-com. Pick something off the wall right now.
All right, pizza.
The pizza industry. All right, cool. And so I've got this prototype version of like a pocket-sized edition of Side Hustle.
Nice.
And I've got a handful of card names inside of here that I'm going to pull from. So Frank, I'm just going to pull a card out at random, and you are going to, on the spot, because this is going to be a lightning round, you're going to pitch me this business name in the pizza industry.
In the pizza industry. Okay, this is very interesting.
You're basically doing a Shark Tank pitch right now, but it's like a random.
Forget about Shark Tank. You're selling a pen. Like, sell me this pen.
Yeah, sell me this pen.
Sure,
Frank, your industry is pizza, and your side hustle is Robotrix.
Robotrix. Wow, that's a tough one, man. Robotrix.
What is a Robotrix?
I don't know. It's in the pizza industry. Tell me about it.
Okay, yeah, so we are fine. So we've developed this machine that actually brings the pizza to your house. So you order it, and we have a machine that actually goes in 15 minutes. We have certain machines in certain areas that guarantees you a hot pizza delivered to your door by a robot in 15 minutes.
Well, how'd you come up with the name?
Right. So we understand that catchy names have a big impact in branding, and sometimes the most successful brands are the ones that have a name that's just very catchy. So really, the concept wasn't so much on the name; it was more on the strategy of the business. We found a name that was catchy and very memorable.
I like it. It kind of sounds like a DoorDash got started in Silicon Valley. How much are you looking to raise?
Well, we're looking around roughly between 15 and 20 million, just because we have to put certain robots in certain areas of each city. And we need to we want to guarantee the 15-minute delivery, right? So in order for us to be able to do that, we need to get to certain robots in certain locations. And being able to get permits and all of that is where most of the money is going to be spent.
Yeah, nobody likes cold pizza. Those bad reviews will kill you.
Yeah, for sure. So in order for us to do
that. Frank, that was some solid stuff right there.
I can do this all day. I can do this all day.
Something tells me we're going to be playing this game a lot, no?
We love it, man. Good concept. Listen, I'm in the branding world, man. I think that's such a good, interesting thing to play out, right? Because we're building brands all day. Unlike a lot of people in this industry, I'm pre-Amazon. I like to say I'm pre-Amazon because I'm all about building the name, building the structure, building the concept around the business. And that game caught me completely off guard, but I'm already in love with it.
Great.
Where do I buy? That's the big question.
Oh, you can buy it on Amazon, and you can buy it at playsidehustle.com. So we are selling online right now. Actually, we're ready to set up our first in-person event now that things are opening up back here in Austin.
Listen, I'm definitely a buyer, a player, definitely a support. Yo, Drew.
What's up, guys?
Awesome.
What's up, Andrew? So, guys, I have a meeting that I have to dip to. David changed a little bit of the schedule on me, but you got somebody greater than me. You got somebody cooler than me. We got Andrew on live set, so I do have to dip. But thank you so much for this podcast. Thank you, everybody, for showing up. Andrew, you're my man.
Frank, thank you, Frank.
Great to meet you, Frank.
Take care.
We'll be in touch.
For sure.
We're gonna be winding down in a minute, anyways. But Andrew was going to potentially stand in for Frank if Frank couldn't have made it. We like to always have backups. Andrew is a fellow agency, and I figured at the very least, and this is exactly what's happening right now. Darby, I would like to introduce you to Andrew. Andrew, I'd like to introduce you to Darby. Andrew has an Amazon agency. Darby writes Amazon copy. So you guys can do business. There's no question about it. I'm already vouching for Darby, Andrew. He is good at what he does. I know that you have high standards in who you work with as well, and I'm confident to say that he fits the bill. So I'll connect you guys via email after this podcast. But
Darby.
I actually also have to go. I have a few. I'm gonna let you guys continue in this room after we end off things. But thank you so much, Darby, for joining us. Andrew, thank you for joining as well. I appreciate it. I'm gonna end the live here. Hold on.
Thanks for having me, David.
No problem. We usually leave with music, but today is a special day, and we're not as
Where are you at? That looks like some kind of like serious operation.
I'm in the
like
Javits Center
or something. Okay, that's cool.
I'm in the Javits Center over here. Yeah.